Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome.
Now tuning into the Alice and Denise podcast.
Alice and Denise, A-D-A-D, the petite powerhouse, A-D, always 100. You can like it or not. She don't mind pushing buttons all up in your hot spots. Crock pot cooking, damn. And she good looking, hold up, brains and beauty, raising awareness, certified therapist, but much better prepared with it. Check her portfolio, it's accredited. Like, subscribe, follow, share it. Roll out the red carpet for the queen, and welcome to the show. Peace and blessings. Alice and Denise, A-D-A-D.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings. This is relationship coach Alice and Denise, and you are tuned into the Alice and Denise podcast, where we answer your dating and relationship questions right here live every Tuesday around 2 and until around 3. I hope everybody is having a wonderful afternoon so far. Thank you guys so much for those of you who are tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch live. You are truly appreciated. Let me see who we have checking in already. What's up, BD? Good to see you. I'm so glad to see everybody as y'all are coming in. Remember, relationship coach Alice and Denise, we are here to answer your relationship questions live. If you guys are not following us, please feel free to go ahead and follow us at any of the methods, or all if you prefer. We would prefer it. Make sure that you are following us on all social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. That information is below. Also remember, any of the platforms that you are currently subscribed to or following, you can send your questions there. We answer them every week. If we happen to run out of room, we'll just move your question to the following episode, but we will get to all questions if at all possible. Okay. You also have the option of emailing us. You can email us at that is my relationship page email. You can email us at the ADpodcast 2020 at gmail.com. This is what happens when you have more than one email address. It is what it is. So yes, if you have a question that you want us to answer right here on the show, you can go to the ADpodcast 2020 at gmail.com, and we will be happy to answer your questions there too. All right, who else is here? What's up, Edwin? Thank you so much. First time been able to see it from the beginning. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much. And shout out to Elliot Sutton. I think that is a new name. Truly appreciate you guys for tuning in. So here's how it goes for those of you who are new, or those of you who maybe haven't been back in a while. What we're going to do is answer. I'm going to pull up a question. I'm going to read it, and I'm either going to answer it first, or I'm going to see if those who are tuning in decide that they want to put in their input and their suggestions as well. This is collaborative, so the community answers the questions along with me. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get that started. Let me make sure I have shared the video to my page. Okay, now it's letting me do it. Here we go. And share. All right, shout out to those of you who are watching from the Alice and Denise official page on Facebook. You are truly appreciated. I wanted to make sure you were not forgotten. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with these questions, shall we? What's up, Renner? Good to see you. Shout out to Renner for completely taking over the Bad Squad radio show this past Friday night. You just made tape today. I just wanted to let you know that. Okay, so let me go ahead and get started. All right, first question. And I want to shout out, all of these questions actually came either from Facebook, or they came as a result of someone who was listening to a previous episode and put a question underneath, and I promised them that I would go ahead and read those questions. So that's what we have this week in terms of where they come from. So that this first one is from Facebook Messenger. And this person asks, if you told your current partner you weren't having conversations with your ex and they find out you lied, can the relationship be saved? All right. So let's read that one again. If you told your partner that you weren't having conversations with your ex, but they found out that you were lying, you actually were still having side conversations with the ex, can the relationship be saved? All right, so let's see what we have here in terms of comments. All right, Renner is here. Yes, I do type fast, about 110 words a minute. Peace and blessings, David. And he says no. Renner says, love the hair. Thank you. I loved it too. I'm enjoying it. David says done. All right. So we have heard from one listener, and thank you so much for your response. We have heard no. If you were talking to your ex and you said you weren't, and I found out you were, nope, we're done. We're done. Edwin says, why were they lying? I say done too. Okay. And then we have BD. Nope, because you lied. What you lie for, the truth is gone. The truth is gone. The trust is gone. Bye-bye. Okay, so, all right, so the general consensus is that the relationship cannot be saved. So I want to break it down a little bit. In most cases, I'm going to say the same. In most cases, it's not so much that you're talking to your ex so much as you lied about it. That's the sticking point. If I were in that other person's shoes, my sticking point would be, I would just have a lot of questions. I usually tend to be inquisitive as it is. I have a lot of questions regardless, but I would actually have, additional questions in this situation. It would be like, okay, number one, why did they lie? And specifically because the lie is centering around an ex, my next question would be, okay, if it's an ex and you're lying, what else are you lying about? Like, are you just apologizing because you got caught? Are you wanting to get everything back on track because you got caught? Do you sincerely feel bad? Because if you sincerely felt bad, how come I had to catch you? Why couldn't you just come and tell me you were doing it? Then there would be another multitude. Okay, if this is an ex, are you still sleeping with the ex? Are you still in love with the ex? Do you still have feelings for the ex? What is it that's going on with the ex that was so much more important that you felt the need to lie to your current partner just to continue to have conversations with the previous one? And because most people either know what they want or have had enough experience in what they don't want, all of these could be red flags. Now, I will say that there's a chance that it could have been innocent. It could be that person is just talking to their ex, and we can be adults. Sometimes you can end up in a relationship before you realize, you can end up in a new relationship before you realize what the previous partner was trying to tell you. I'll give an example. Let's say you're dating someone and you tell them that they have a tendency to interrupt you. And you told them throughout the whole relationship, stop interrupting me. Just let me finish a statement. Let me finish my thought before you cut me off. But because y'all have had that argument so many times, along with that person not wanting to acknowledge that that's an issue that they should address, y'all end up breaking up. Not necessarily for that reason, but when you break up, that person still leaves thinking that they're fine. Well, now they end up in another relationship and now they have somebody else telling them the same thing. It could be as innocent as that person wanting to reach out to their ex and say, listen, such and such, you said this and I gave you a hard time and I kept telling you that I wasn't doing it. But now my current person is telling me that I'm doing it too. And so it didn't seem fair to apologize to them without also coming back to apologize for you. It could be that simple. It could be that you're gaining clarity in the last relationship, in the new relationship, and you just simply want to acknowledge you're wrong because you didn't. Closure, perhaps. There's a chance of that. The problem, though, is when the lie is told. When the lie is told and then the lie is found out. That now has the person wondering, and we all know that most people who are dating, if they've been hurt a lot or if they've gone through a lot of disappointing relationships, trust issues is pretty far up the list. It's pretty, downhill. It's kind of an uphill battle with someone who is dealing with that. So if it's someone who already has trust issues, their mind is going to go all over the place, because here's the thing. They could choose to forgive you. But what if they did that before and they got rewarded with either that person doing it again, or they got rewarded with the person before you going even further next time they got caught sleeping with them? So the person who was lied to is now in a position of, do I trust that nothing is going on, knowing that by doing that, they're also taking a chance that they'll either catch you on the phone with the ex again, catch you conversating with the ex again, or maybe catch you sleeping with the ex again, in which case it's not just going to further erode the trust issues they have, but now they're going to be angry with themselves for even giving you a second chance, because maybe they've done it before. So I can't say that it can't be saved, because I can't speak for the person that was lied to. I can only say that, trust is just it's just a really big thing. And the older you get, the harder it is to give to people. And so when someone feels like that trust has been eroded, I don't know that it'll go back to the way it was. I can't tell you what another person is going to do. I can only say that in most cases, specifically because of it being a lie and specifically because of it involving an ex, most people would cut and run, if for no other reason, self-protection. Just, nope, I'm not going to get caught in the middle of nothing. It seems like you still want to be over there. I'm not going to sit over here and continue to invest my time and my heart if you still got one foot over there. It could be self-preservation. It could be self-protection. It could be, this is a major red flag, let me go. But in most cases, people are going to cut and run. So if there is a chance that the person you're with is willing to work through this, if they're willing to give you a chance, if you do have a justifiable reason for why you did it, and you're willing to make some sacrifices, whether it be in terms of privacy, comfort, convenience, or whatever, to regain that trust, if that person is willing to do it, the biggest suggestion or advice I can give you is, if they're willing to give you that chance, don't need it a second time. Don't need a second chance. Let this be it. Because almost everybody, and you saw here in the comments, most people would leave. If this person is saying that they're going to stay, don't make them regret that. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this. You have to be honest about why you're still talking to your ex. If deep down you're not over them, but you're only with someone else because you don't want to be alone, that's not fair to you or that person. If you need to take more time to get over the ex, because there's times where you're over the ex, but maybe you're not over the love that you have for them, or you're not over what you invested. It could be anything, but you have to first be honest before you even go to your new partner. Why were you talking to them? Why were you, with them? This is one reason I'm not a fan of being friends with exes. I don't know that this is this person's situation, but this is why I'm not a fan of being friends with exes. Because specifically, if you've had sex with them, you've already crossed that line. You've already been intimate. There's already been a connection. Yes, you can, do a lot of different things for the connection to be severed or whatever, but it's kind of like riding a bike. You could go 20 or so years not riding a bike, but for some reason, you never forget how to do it. You might be rusty the first couple of ways around, but you don't forget how to do it. I don't see the point of keeping connections around me that I've been intimate with. I just feel like it's a breeding ground for temptation. And then anytime something, goes wrong in the current relationship, now everything is being romanticized, because the person that you're with, you're seeing them, they're good and they're bad every day. But the longer you're away from your ex, the less you forget the bad, the more you forget the good. So then what ends up happening is the bad in the current relationship gets magnified to be bigger than it really is, because you're still sitting over here talking to an ex, and now all of their good is being magnified to be better than it actually was. My thing, if they're an ex, that's just my opinion. But if this person is willing to walk through this with you, don't make them regret it. And if you know deep down that you're really not over the ex, then don't even bother going to your current, except to say that you need to separate and move forward and allow them to move forward, because you're setting yourself up for failure if you know you still have feelings over here and you're asking your current partner to forgive you when you're still not ready to stop talking to them. You'll just end up going behind their back to talk to them again, because the feelings you have for them are going to get to a point where you're going to want to reach out, and you're not going to be able to overcome the desire to reach out. So be honest with yourself first, and then move accordingly with your partner. Let me see what everybody else is saying. Elliot says no. What's up, Corey? Corey says that's a wrap. Elliot says it's a wrap too. Renner says, is there a child involved? I don't think so. Not in this situation. But my thing is this: even if there was a child involved with the ex, there was still no need to go behind their back. So that tells me that the conversation was not related to the child, if there is one. What's up, Anthony? Good to see you. Happy New Year to you too. Renner says, is there a jealous spirit? I don't know that there's necessarily, I don't think that this would be a jealousy thing. I don't think. I mean, tell me what you think. But I don't think it would be a jealousy thing. I think this is more of a, why couldn't you just tell me you were talking to them? Which is why I would have the other questions. What were y'all talking about that you felt the need that you had to go behind my back? Like if you were just telling them happy birthday, right? You could have just done that in front of me. If you just wanted to say, I'm sorry for the loss of a relative, you could have said that in front of me. So what was it that you were talking to them about that you had to hide from me? That's where my mind would go. BD says, if it's innocent, why lie? Exactly. Now, let me put these two together. So my thing is this: let's say that the person is talking to their ex, and the only reason they didn't tell the new person is because they tend to be jealous. Even in that case, I would ask myself two questions. Number one, is this person just an overall person who is jealous? Or do you find that this person seems to get jealous with this one situation? Now, if you're dating someone who is just jealous by nature, that might be something you need to address anyway. Like, that means you could stop talking to your ex today, but they're still going to be jealous anytime someone looks at you or gives you a compliment. That is a completely different red flag. You might just need to walk away from that relationship either way. But if your current partner seems to only get jealous when it comes to this one ex, and you rewarded that jealousy by giving them something to be jealous about, that's where there might be a problem. Okay. Renner says, use I statements. I feel this way, not you made me feel this way. Absolutely. I agree with that. If a black woman catches you sleeping with your ex, your body will be on the first 48. That is 100% true. I don't even have anything to add to that. Yes. I've died twice, episode 68 and 119. Really? Don't let it be a third, Renner. Like, really. What's up, Tate? Tate says, you might run into a pole, but you can still ride the bike. Really, Tate? I can't with you. Edwin says, don't look at your past for your... Exactly. Don't look at your past for your future. Don't. Like, that would be the big thing for me. Is there a fear issue involved? Is the current relationship going so well that it's scaring you, and you weren't necessarily reaching back to your ex because you wanted them, but were you maybe subconsciously reaching back to your ex because you wanted to maybe press the reset button on what felt good so that you could feel more comfortable with what was not good for you or was even toxic for you? What was the real reason for reaching out to the ex? Are you afraid because things are going so well? Are you afraid because things aren't going so well? Is there a chance that things aren't going well in the current relationship and it's making you rethink why you ended the last one? Ask yourself all of these questions before you go to the current partner. If the current partner just says, look, I can't trust you and I need to move on, I'm not going to say that there's a whole lot you can do. I mean, you can try to see if you can work it out. You can try to pursue. But that trust thing, it's just a big deal. It's just a really big deal. Renner says, you keep coughing, putting my mask on. Whatever. I forgot to bring water. What's up, Aaron? Good to see you. Don't connect with someone until a disconnect. That's what I always say. Close them doors before you open new ones. Because there's no, and I don't want to piss off anybody. Well, hell, that's just what I do. I don't mean to piss you off, but if it happens, it happens. There is no justifiable reason for continuing to date new people when you know you're not over the old person, except for selfishness and loneliness. That's it. There's no other reason. You can make it sound good. You can give every excuse that you want to. You can pretty it up. You can put a bow tie on it. You can do whatever. But if you know you're not over someone else and you're still out here dating other people, knowing that you're not over someone else, you're lonely or you're selfish or you're both. Because what you're saying is, I'm still used to having someone here. I'm still used to the routine in my past. I'm still used to having someone sleeping beside me. I'm still used to going on dates. I'm still used to having the routine of a relationship. I still want the routine, even though I don't have it with the person I want to have the routine with. But I also don't want that person to expect me to commit to them. I want them to commit to my routine, but I don't want to commit to them. Your asses are selfish. You don't have to like it, but fix it. Stop all this in and out, and I'm gonna date him and him and him and her and her and her, and then the minute they leave, you back in the bed crying over the ex. Get over the ex. Like you will at some point. Yes, that means that you will be alone. Yes, it means you may not have sex as much as you used to. Yes, it may mean that you don't get to cuddle before you go to bed every night, and all of that sucks. Trust me, I understand. But deciding that your need for cuddling or your need for companionship is more important than that person's need of a commitment, or that person's need of having all of you the way that they're trying to give you all of them, your asses are selfish. Get over it. You won't die by yourself. You won't die not having a penis beside you every night, sis. Bro, you won't die not having a new one to jump on top of every night. I promise you, you will wake up and find that you are still alive. I promise you that you will. And Tate says, please share. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So that is question 1. I think we're done with that one. So let's move on. So the next one is from a brother who was watching a couple of episodes back, and I kept running out of time to add. I couldn't figure out how to add his where it would fit, but I'm making it fit this week. So this brother asked, why do women who dated the same man at different times decide to become friends? Why do women who dated the same man at different times decide to become friends? All right, so here's a little bit of background on what he means by that. So his thing is, let's say that you're, a guy's dating a woman. The woman finds out that, they had an ex, and maybe the man's not even dealing with the ex anymore, or maybe they're one of those cool exes. I don't know what the situation could be. But for whatever reason, the current woman is aware of the previous woman, and for some reason the two of them get to connecting and conversing, and they decide that they want to become friends, and he wants to know why do women do that. Now, I'm not going to say that men don't do it, but I will say that I'm going to stick to why women do it, because I just don't see a lot of men wanting to sit around and share their feelings with another dude about a woman, because men seem to be a little more territorial. But I will answer this brother's question. So sometimes, and it's not the case of this gentleman. I know this gentleman offline, so I want to preface it by saying this is not his issue, but this could be a problem. One of the reasons that women tend to bond over a man that they both dated is if they're still hurting from the man doing the same thing to them. So let's just say a brother dated one girl and strung her along, and while he was stringing her along, he had brought in a new person into the mix. So he's dating two people, but they don't know about each other. And then eventually they find out about each other. There are times where we will usually see women who want to go at each other's throats, which I think is completely idiotic, my opinion. But there are some times where women can be so hurt that they feel like the only other person who can understand their pain is the other woman that he caused the same pain to. So they end up bonding as a result of being able to say that they had this one guy do the exact same things to them. Now, that may seem weird to some brothers. I'm not going to say that I think it's weird. I wouldn't necessarily bond over this. However, I do understand where some women could say, I don't understand how he could do this to me or do that to me. And as those two women start to take notes, specifically if the man had a history of either gaslighting or playing mind games, a lot of times the two of them talking to each other turns out to be a healing process, because they can both validate each other and they can both walk away from the thought of, am I crazy? Am I losing my mind? I know he said this. Why did he say that he didn't? There's a chance by talking to someone else who went through the same type of treatment, it's making them feel like, okay, I wasn't crazy. It wasn't me. This was just something that he did because he did it to a completely different person. Another reason that two women may decide to bond is out of sheer bitterness and spite. Sometimes women will decide that they want to be best friends because they just want to make your life a living hell. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's because you did anything. You know, some women, just by deciding to break things off, you become the enemy. Even if they're the reason you ended the relationship, some women, just leaving them is enough for you to become an enemy. They're not yet at a point where they're accountable. They're not yet at a point where they're willing to hold themselves responsible for their actions and what could have contributed to you deciding to walk away. So a lot of times they just go find other exes who are still in that same mindset, and they decide that they would just rather become friends. But here's the thing. I use friends loosely because they're not really friends. They're just bonding over hating you. They're bonding over hating you. So once one or both of them decides that they don't want to waste energy hating you anymore, they kind of don't have anything left to discuss. And I'll be real. If you decide that you made a mistake with one of them and you decide that you want to go back and pursue one of them, they really won't have anything to discuss, because this is something that people don't understand. People say the opposite of love is hate, and that's not true. Love and hate is just emotion on different sides of the same coin. Love says, I'm investing my energy into you in a positive way. Hate says, I'm investing my energy to you in a negative way. Either way, you invest in the damn energy. The opposite of love is indifference. I said it on, I can't remember how far back, but I don't have any ill will towards any of my exes, not even my ex-husband who tried to kill me. I don't wish them well, but I don't wish them hell either. I'm completely indifferent. That doesn't mean that I hate them. It doesn't mean that I have hidden issues. It doesn't mean that I have I don't feel anything. That is the difference. That is the opposite of love. The opposite of love is you're no longer investing energy, period. You're indifferent to it. My ex won $1 million. Oh, okay, that's cool. My ex finds out he has incurable disease. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't feel anything either way. That's the difference. So when you have these women who are bonding over hating you, you have two women who are still investing their energy. So if you make the decision, if you sit back one day and say, man, I really got it wrong with A, not B, but A, and you decide you want to start pursuing A again, girl B, she gonna hear from girl A lot less. And after a while, girl A is going to end up coming up with reasons why girl B should have been, you know what, you right. Maybe she wasn't good enough. You know, she's going to start having those thoughts because now she's got the attention of the original dude again. She's getting his pipe again. She's getting his attention again. She's getting his, whatever it was he was doing, she's now feeling on top of the world because she wasn't indifferent. She still had feelings for you too. They both did. So sometimes women will bond as a result of just wanting to jointly hate you. Very, 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 very rare occasions. There are some women who were just meant to be friends and you just happen to be a part of the chapter. That's it. It's not that they talk about you. It's not that they spend time thinking of different ways to destroy you or lie on you or call the police or slash your tires. They don't talk about you at all. For whatever reason, they just ended up getting along as friends. Down the line, or maybe at the beginning, they found out that y'all dated the same guy. Now, these two friends are going to be more mature, though, because they are actually building a friendship. So these two women are going to make sure that they're both over you. They're both going to say, okay, I know that I'm not with Joe anymore, and I know you're not with Joe anymore, but be honest, if he came back around, would you give him a shot? And these women will ask this question because they know that a friendship is about to form and they would rather end it now than to invest more into the friendship, that person become closer to them, and then they figure out that this guy that they have a mutual history with could come between them. But like I said, these are very, very, very rare occasions. Okay, let me see what comments we have here. Tate says, okay, let me go to this one. Runner says, can you answer my friend's question about anonymously? I got you. It's actually the next one coming up. They're about to jump his. Tate says, because they have a common enemy. Absolutely. Allison Denise, a shovel remains the same size with a man. Too many shovels in the same hole. It's my fault. I read it. What's up, Bert? So it's not weird that I have exes that are friends that put energy into hating me, and my current ex decided to reach out to my exes. It's crazy. It's got to be me. No, it's not you. So the common denominator, unless you are dogging these women out, and I don't think you are, unless you are dogging these women out, the only common denominator is maybe you just want to sit down and figure out if they have common traits. Do they have common traits? Do they have common behaviors? Are you attracted to women who have the same traits? Are they all jealous? Do they all seem to hate men? Do they put brothers down? Do they all seem to have a problem where they say they want a man, but they really just want to be in control? Do they have a problem taking advice? Do they have a problem being corrected? You know, is the thing that you love about them their spunkiness, their independence, the fact that they get things done? Is that the good side of the coin? But the other side of the coin is they're very good at emasculating men. They're very good at acting like they don't need them. They want to say they have one, but behind closed doors, they want to act like it's not a real need because they can do everything for themselves. You may want to see if you have a common denominator with the type of women you're attracted to. But other than that, unless you're dogging these women out, there's nothing you can really do about the fact that they want to get together. So see if there's a common personality disorder, a common trait, something like that. Renner says, one man can plant a flower, the one before him can plant a body. Why, Renner? Just why? What's up, Shelly? Good to see you. Edwin says, damn, how all your exes getting together? You got an only ex page? Really, Edwin? I cannot with you. I can't. Renner says, small town. No, it's the town here ain't that small, but that's definitely something that I would want him to think about deeper. I'm not going to ask. That might be something he want to think about. I'm thinking that he is attracted to women with the same type of personality, and that those personalities have the tendency to want to lash out when they're rejected. And that's my guess. And if that turns out to be it, then that would give him, it's a good thing if that turns out to be the situation, because that means all he has to do now is start to figure out, okay, since I continue to be attracted to women like this, what are some of their traits? What are some of the things that I didn't pay attention to? That way, when he starts dating again, if he notices that he's picking up that same energy, he knows to walk away from it. But more importantly, when he's not picking up that energy, he won't run away from it. And the reason I say that is because anyone who's dealt with a series of bad relationships or toxic exes or whatever, we don't understand sometimes that even though that's not a situation we want to be in, we have been conditioned to it. We have gotten addicted to the drama. We've gotten addicted to the up and downs. We've gotten addicted to the cycle. We've gotten addicted to the very high highs and the very low lows. And then when we meet someone who's healthy, we immediately think they're not the one because we're not feeling all that energy. But someone who is healthy is going to be more steady. Yes, you're going to have moments where they're upset and you're upset, but it's not going to be to the level of extremes that it is with someone who either isn't for you or someone who's just a toxic individual. So by finding out what these traits are, Brother Bert will be able to then figure out, okay, when I start to see those traits, I'll know to back off. But if I don't see those traits, that'll let me know that I'm in a different pool. And instead of me thinking that I'm bored or that they're not the one, that'll let me know, oh, wait, she might be healthy. Maybe that's why I'm not feeling all that extra that I used to with other people, because she's healthy. So I need to learn how to settle myself down, my emotions, my energy. Maybe I need to figure that out so I don't walk away from someone who is good for me just because I'm not feeling all of that extra emotion. Renner says, you asked about the tendency to cheat. One man plants a flower, the other can dig a grave. Oh, I got you now. Okay, I'm with you. All right, so I hope that answers the question. I hope that answers your question, Bert. Thank you so much. And thank you for being patient while I found a way to answer it. Last week, I didn't feel like it fit. And I think the week before, I didn't think it fit. But today, I was like, forget it. We're going to make it fit. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the third question. Third question is, how does a man learn to trust again? I thought this one was pretty good. How does a man learn to trust again? So the way that the question was asked was, how does a relatively successful single man pick himself up and learn to trust again? So, for character purposes, make sure I had enough room. I shortened it. But this is actually not going to be as hard as you may think it is. So here's my suggestion. Here's how I would answer this. The first thing that anyone who wants to learn how to trust again in relationships, whether it be trusting yourself again, trusting your own intuition, all of those things are wrapped up into one. And so the first thing that you have to do is decide that you actually do want to trust again. Now, that may seem weird, right? Because you're like, well, I asked the question, so of course I want to. But let's make sure that you really do want to, because there's another side to that. So everyone says that they want to lose weight. We know it makes sense. We know if we lose weight and we're healthier and our cardio is up, that we'll have a better quality of life and less need for medication and a much more decreased risk of having any kind of chronic illness or diseases that we have to monitor. We know that. It makes sense to do it. But a lot of people don't necessarily get to the point that they want to. Even with all the benefit of getting up, walking, running, aerobics, cycling, whatever. Even with the benefit, some people can't get past how long it'll take to see the benefit. So it's like, I don't want to take 8 months just to finally see myself lose 20 pounds. And then they'll see that they can get that pizza right now. They can get those fries right now. They can just lay into bed an extra hour so they can get some extra sleep before they go to work or whatever they're going to do. So even though everyone knows that it's best to have a healthy body, not everybody really wants it. And so when I'm talking about trust issues, what I mean is, if you do in fact want to trust, does that mean that you're also willing to understand that with trust comes vulnerability? And with vulnerability comes the potential to be hurt. Because even the perfect person for us is going to hurt us, right? Not intentionally, not in the ways that other people who weren't for us hurt us. It won't be the type of hurt that is gut wrenching or meant to try to destroy us from the inside out or change who we are. But they may forget a birthday, or they may end up having to do something a night that you really had something planned for them. They may snap at you because they've had a bad day. It could be anything. But with trust comes vulnerability. And with vulnerability comes the potential to be hurt or disappointed. Saying that you're ready to trust again also means that you're willing to hold someone else's trust. This is an issue that I've seen with some brothers, not the one who asked this, but one of the issues I've seen with some of the people, some of the brothers who have come to become clients. They're really, really focused on their trust issues, but they don't understand that they are causing trust issues in the person they're dating. They're putting her through a whole bunch of tests to prove that he can trust her, but he's still cheating. He's still dating other people after saying that he wasn't. He is so focused on just having his needs met that he doesn't understand that he's not only not meeting her needs, but he's putting her through the same stuff that his ex put him through. So when we say that we're ready for trust issues, does that mean we have to ask, am I ready for the vulnerability that comes with me trusting someone? And am I ready to give the same amount of trust that I want to get back? So if you can answer yes to those questions, the way that you want to walk through trust issues is to first start to trust yourself again. That's usually the trust that leaves first. That's one of the reasons that we tend to be hyper vigilant if we see anything that reminds us of our ex, the one that really, that ex, the ex that really, really, really did a number on you, that made you wonder, am I stupid? I mean, I thought I was smart, but for me to end up in a situation like, am I dumb and I don't know it? Am I crazy? Am I, sometimes you run into those relationships that make you question who you are as a person, because you're like, I really thought I was one way, but how the hell did I end up in this? So first, trust yourself. The best way to do that is to let go of everything that has happened in the past. Now, the easiest way to let go is sometimes the way that may take the longest. But to let go of the past, you have to stop wanting the person who hurt you to get, you have to stop wanting to see vindication or vengeance. You have to stop wanting to give revenge. You have to stop thinking that until they get theirs, you can't move forward. And some of us think that directly or indirectly, consciously or subconsciously. If we're constantly looking back to see if their life is better than ours, if they're dating someone prettier or more handsome, if they, if someone hurt us and they got a new car. Some people, God don't love me. He did all that stuff to me and he let him get that new car. Not even knowing that the car is on the 24% interest rate and he gonna have it repossessed in 3 months. They don't know all that. They just thinking he got a new car, so that must mean I still don't matter. We have to separate our healing from whether we ever see that person pay for what they did to us. That's the first way to start to trust yourself again, where you just let the stuff go. Once you let that stuff go, can you honestly say that you've healed from all that hurt? One of the ways that you can tell that you've healed from that hurt is if you can talk about it to someone else and you don't feel anything when the conversation is over. Are you at a space where you can talk to someone else who may be going through something similar? Share your story in however way that you feel. You can share your story, and then when you walk away, you feel good about the fact that you were able to give some knowledge. You don't immediately tank and become emotional for the rest of the day or the rest of the week. So at the point that you're able to talk about what you've been through and it doesn't affect you negatively in an emotion, or it doesn't affect you emotionally in a negative way, that's one way you'll know that you're over that hurt. And if you have to do this with multiple relationships, then that's how you'll know that you're over all those relationships. Once you take care of that part, you've learned to trust yourself. Well, you've made a decision that you want to trust again. You've now learned how to trust yourself first. And one of the first things you're doing is letting that relationship go. Now you can also look at what things, if any, did you miss? A lot of people are really quick to say that there's always signs. I hate those general comments because there aren't always signs. People have to stop saying that. I have a much better approach for determining whether you are with someone that you should continue pursuing or not. And I'll get to that part in a second. But see if there was anything that you ignored. Think back to any conversations where maybe you felt something in your gut or something in your chest and you just brushed it off. Think about that. Okay, well, when she did that, it did turn out into her doing A, B, C, D. So that was probably a sign I should have paid attention to. If there were no signs, you can, after you've healed from it and you're not in a point where every time you look at something you could have done better, you start doing condemnation and self-deprecating behavior. Now you can sit back, look at those relationships thoughtfully and just say, okay, am I in a better mindset today than I was then? Am I thinking better? Do I have a better sense of myself? Do I have more confidence in me? Am I in a better place than I was back then? The reason you want to ask yourself this question is because if you know for a fact that you're in a better place now than you were then you can start to trust yourself, because if you're in a better space now than you were then, that means you'll make better decisions now than you did then. So if you can clearly see that you're two different people, you don't have to be afraid of making old you mistakes, because new you has the wisdom that old you didn't. Does that make sense? My ex is goofy. Okay. Bert says, I think so. I got to get another page. Yeah, you might want to do that. Just don't forget to friend me, Bert. Don't forget to friend me. Now, you do have the option of blocking. Now, if you need help with blocking, I got you. I know how to block. I can walk you through a tutorial today. But just let me know. Renner says, Renner asked if a child is involved. Okay. Okay, back in the beginning. Okay, I feel you now. So you first want to make sure, again, are you ready to trust and all that means? Are you now learn to trust yourself? And let's go back through these relationships and these situations. And it doesn't have to be love. It could be related to money. It could be related to a business that you maybe lost and now you're afraid of starting a new one. Whoever's listening, this can apply to any situation where you've lost a little bit of confidence in yourself or your ability to make wise decisions in an area. Go back to those decisions and think about what you would have done differently. If you have an answer to what you would have done differently, then that is your proof that you're wiser now. So if you're wiser now, you won't make the same mistakes. So you can move forward knowing I'm more equipped, I have more knowledge, I have more information, I know what I should pay attention to and what I shouldn't. So I can go ahead and get back out there in whatever area it is that I'm learning to trust again. Okay? Now, if we are talking about relationships, which is what I'll stay on since that's what this platform is about, once you get to the point where you're ready to trust you again, now you get into the dating scene and just start making better decisions. The first one is knowing what your weaknesses are. So one of the examples I give a lot when I'm doing coaching sessions is the time that I was celibate for 4 years. I was celibate for 4 years, and that was my decision. And one of the reasons that I decided to do it, it was right after I had ended the first relationship I was in after my divorce. Relationship ended, it was just an emotional breakup. It wasn't an emotional relationship. It was just a bad breakup. And so when the breakup ended, I closed the door to my house at the time, and I was going to bed. And the hallway that I walked down, I got to look at my son's room, and at the time he was 3 or 4, so I didn't let him sleep with his door open. I wanted to hear everything, so if he needed me, I could hear him. So I was walking by his room, and I looked at him, and it hit me that I wasn't a single woman anymore. I was a single mother, and that I had spent however long, I can't remember now, I had spent a great deal of time with a brother, and I knew 6 months in that it wasn't the right relationship, but I stayed in it because of sex. Sex was great. So I hung on in there. And it hit me that particular night. You're not a single woman anymore. You're a single mother. And I didn't want to bring the wrong person around my kid because of the number of orgasms he gave me. So I shut it down. And I shut it down for 4 years. Here's the thing, though. It's one thing to make a decision. It's another thing to support the decision with certain behavior. So when I made that decision, it wasn't just a matter of willpower. Well, I said I'm not having sex no more, so I can do it. That don't always work. What I did was keep these walls around me. And the walls were, there was certain music that was off limits. I did not listen to Jill Scott. I did not listen to Jill Scott. Nothing related to Jill Scott, because Jill Scott will get you in the mood where you just call folk yourself. You don't even wait for a brother to reach out to you. Jill gets you to that point. The interlude that used to get me was Crown Royal. Crown Royal on Ice. I stopped listening to Jill Scott. Other things I did was not date men who were still sexually active. Not because I thought, oh goodness, they're sinners. I'm the one because I was a Christian still at the time. I'm the one who's living for God. And, these men out here who decide that they still want to have sex, they're heathens. And no, it wasn't that. It was because if I liked their personality, and if I vibed with them on any level and they were still sexually active, the temptation would be there for me to be sexually active. And since they don't have those walls, they would have welcomed it. Now, yeah, ideally, they may have said, well, I know that this isn't what you want to do, so we need to stop. But I know I can be convincing. So he may have tried to say, no, you said that this isn't what you want. But if I figure out, I knew me at that time. Well, if I figure out what his spot is and I want it, I'm just going to get it. And I know how to get it. Like, you have to be this honest with yourself. So I didn't date men who were still sexually active. These were the things that I did. So when we talk about going back out into the dating world and learning how to trust yourself again, the reason I bring this up is because I want y'all to stop looking for signs. I know that sounds crazy. But here's my theory. Stay with me. When you're looking for signs, how are you enjoying the relationship? Looking for signs is saying, I remember all the bad things that I've been through, and I want to look for any signs that there's other bad things. You're training yourself to look for bad things. And if you want to look for something long enough, you'll always find it. Like, you're not preparing for when good comes. You're just preparing to know when bad arrives. And the universe is not going to reward your training, so to speak, with something you're not training for. Like, you want a good relationship, but you're training yourself to recognize bad ones. So what the hell are you going to do when you meet a good one, because you haven't trained on how to be in a good one? So I feel like signs turn you more into a detective than a date. And I also believe signs are you trusting outside influences more than internal. My suggestion is to get in tune with your energy. My suggestion is to get in tune with how you feel when you're around people that you trust, and how you feel when you're around people that are shady. All of that is internal. All of that keeps you in tune with you. And the benefit to that is you can take each date on a case-by-case basis. If you leave the date and you still feel the same way you do when you're around people that you trust, you continue to date. If you have a moment, maybe during a date or an event or a conversation over the phone, if anything happens where that feeling, it's kind of like the example I gave, I think it was in last week's podcast, where I talked about my intuition. If I'm in a good spot, it goes to sleep. But if I'm in a spot where I need to be alert, it wakes up and it never lays down. That's what I want y'all to start paying attention to. Does your intuition go to sleep when you're around that person? Or Does it stay up? Like, no matter how long you out with them, it don't get, your intuition stays up. It grabs a newspaper, it gets some coffee, it does whatever, because it's like, no, this is not a good situation. I can't go to sleep here. I need to look out for him or her. Make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on inside, because here's the deal. As you start to trust this gut, you need less outward proof that you're right. And that's another issue with signs. Sometimes we can be so focused on signs that when we see one, we're still not sure, or our ego gets in the way, and now it wants proof that our signs were right. Now it wants proof. So now you spend more time staying in that situation because now you're desiring proof. But if you stay in tune with your intuition right here, and you got 3 or 4 good times where your intuition never goes to sleep, you don't need proof. My intuition normally sleeps when things are well. My intuition has not been sleeping for the last 2 weeks. I'm going to go ahead and exit this situation. Because you know you can trust internally. You see where I'm going? So as you get back out into the dating game, make sure that you know how it feels. Think about the people that you know without a shadow of a doubt. You don't have to question what they say to you. You don't have to question how they feel about you. You don't have to question their loyalty to you. Imagine yourself in a room with them and feel how your body feels. Now, think about an ex that harmed you or hurt you or disrespected you or betrayed you or was manipulative. Think about a friend who turned out to be a Judas. Close your eyes and think about how it feels when you're in their presence. That's a good way to start. So as you start to ask women out, the women who make you feel like you're still kicking it with your friends, that's the one you stick with. The ones who make you feel like that person that ended up being a Judas in your life, you can give them 2-3 more chances. They might have just had a bad day. Give them 2-3 more chances. But at the end of that third one, cut it. That's how we save ourselves from these extended periods of healing, when we end it before it gets bad. Okay, so that's my suggestion on how you can start to trust yourself. Let me know if that helps. Renner says, don't tell me to whatever, Renner. I did say 4 years. Yes, I was celibate for 4 years. It is my prayer that I never have to do that again. That I'm proud of myself for doing it, but I don't want to do that again. Thank you, Rochelle. Corral, peace and blessings. Good to see you. Your question's next. I'm so glad you came. You did not miss it. I was zooming through this Atlanta traffic trying to. Oh, I appreciate that. Your question is next. Just in case you were running a little late, I decided to make it the next to last question. So you're right on time. Rena says, look for a sign of water. Yeah, that's good. Is it flowing? And that has literally helped me a lot. After I got out of that situation with the narcissist, all I looked for were signs. Anytime I look, and then, you know, it stopped making dating fun. I wasn't having fun because now I was just he ate this just like he did. I'm out. Nope, he did this like he did. Oh, he got rude with the waiter just like that. I'm out. Like, I people off. Now, inevitably, I will say that, you know, 99% of the people that I've cut off, it was right to do it. But I also have to be honest and say, in those cases, not all of them that I cut off were for the reasons that I found to cut them off. They ended up showing other things that were way more cut off worthy. But my initial decision to cut them off, though that was just me being hyper vigilant, and I don't want us to be hyper vigilant. And I feel like looking for signs keeps you hyper vigilant, because if you're constantly looking for signs, this is my thing. If you're constantly looking for signs, the person who is sincerely trying to do right by you, you never really give them a chance, or you take so long giving them a chance that person, they just get tired. And it's real easy for people to say, well, the person who's meant for you will be here and whatever. And it sounds great in theory, but if you are constantly putting someone who doesn't have the character of your ex through tests that don't match who they are as a person, they don't have to stick around for that. They're not obligated, and it doesn't mean they're not for you. It means you're showing signs that you're not ready for them to be for you. So when I started looking inwardly and trusting energy instead, as I began to move forward and kept feeling my intuition stay asleep, stay asleep, stay asleep, now it's like, okay, well, my intuition is still asleep, so let me just enjoy this evening. Oh, I feel good. Okay, my intuition is still asleep. I still feel good. Let me keep going. And eventually you have a greater chance of connecting with the right person for you because you're trusting you. Your intuition is not letting you down. And you're not so busy looking for bad that you're ignoring the good. What? I mean, I've heard people say they've done this. I got nothing. I mean, I've heard brothers say they do it. I don't know if sisters do it. Well, if they do, I don't know if they admit it. Maybe that's what I should say. All right. You still brown liquor ready? Okay. What's up, JoJo? Peace and blessings. Good to see you. All right. So I hope that answers the question. Thank you for it. And now we got Correll's coming up. All right, so Correll asked this last week on our podcast, and he was also one of our new listeners. So I truly appreciate you taking the time to tune in another week. Thank you so much. So this is his question, and I, again, truncated it because of character maximums and all that stuff. So what Correll basically wants to know is this. Why is it that some women say they want to be friends before a relationship starts, but then end up leaving the brother in the friend zone after that? Why is it that some women say they want to be friends before a relationship starts, but then end up keeping the brother in the friend zone after that? So let me tell you what's happening here. Renner says, it makes you see them instead of lust. Yes, it makes you see them instead of lust. Absolutely. Okay, so that's the purpose of before the date. Got you. Okay. What conversation did I walk into? What's up, Troy? It's good to see you. You know, it could be anything. And shout out to Troy for tuning in. I don't know if many of y'all, I think maybe Trochelle has gotten to meet him. I don't think. Maybe Tate did too. But I got to give a shout out to Troy. Troy's been rocking with me since 2015. Like before the first event in Dallas, the first video. I just want to thank him for his continued support. It means a lot, online and offline. Thank you. So, Correll, to answer your question. And I don't seem to have a lot of women watching today. Hopefully Trishelle is still on. And we may get some people who catch the replay. But what I want you to know is this. Most women, if they like you, they want you. Most women, if they like you and they have sized you up according to what it is that they're looking for and how closely you match that, most of the time women are going to be ready to go when you make the offer. It's been my experience, and I'm just speaking in terms of the women that I have come into contact with. I know that there will always be exceptions, but it's been my experience that a lot of women who want to do the friends first thing do it for one of two reasons. Either they're really not interested in you and they don't want to hurt your feelings. So they're thinking, if I start off as friends, they'll eventually get bored with the relationship talk and I can still keep them without ever having rejected them. So it means that they do see that you're a good person. They do think that you're a great man. They do think that, you know, you have a great sense of humor or whatever it is. But for some reason, they don't see themselves with you, but they also don't want to hurt your feelings. So they do the friend route, thinking at some point you'll just meet someone else. And you'll usually figure out if this is that type of woman, if she happens to ask you if you've been out lately. Or if y'all happen to be out together and she happens to point out a woman to you to say, oh, she's cute. Oh, you should consider dating her or whatever. that's going to be a clear sign that she really does just want friendship, because a woman who wants you will never pass you off to someone else. Now, the second reason is that they're afraid. The second reason is that they've been hurt. They're just coming out of a divorce, a bad breakup, a string of relationships or dating experiences that didn't go well. Whatever the situation is, they're now guarded. So they like you, but now they're also afraid of liking you too much. So now their method of trying to get around their fear is to just keep you as a friend for a little bit. Well, we'll just be friends and see where things go. But here's the thing, it's a stall tactic, because they're really afraid of commitment. So they're thinking, if I just do, we were friends first, if we were friends for a little while, they're thinking that at some point their feelings will turn on, but that's not how it works. The only way it works as friends first is if you actually just start off as friends first. So like y'all meet and y'all just become friends, not when it's manipulated friendship. That's not how it works. So a lot of times women who do that, they're afraid of a commitment. Now they're afraid of titles. They're afraid of making anything official, because every time it goes official, it goes downhill. And it's not that you want to discount their experiences, but you don't want to let those past experiences dictate what's going on with y'all. That's the part that's unacceptable. So a lot of times those women will stay, they'll keep you in the friend zone forever, because this is where sometimes men say that they don't understand us, and I get it. Some women who are afraid of commitment, they'll say that they want to stay friends. They'll say they want to stay friends. Well, let's just be friends first and just see how things go. But then what happens is the brother will usually say, okay, well, she said we just friends. I'm still looking, so I'm going to still go over here. Now she under feelings because he ended up finding somebody that he wants to spend a little more time with. And maybe then that relationship didn't work. So even though she said, let's be friends first, she's now mad that you took her bluff. You called it and you went on and found somebody else. That relationship didn't work. So now she wants to stay friends. It's her way of punishing you for making her second pick. I ain't nobody's second choice. Well, heifer, you weren't the first choice because you put him in the friend zone and he acted like he was a friend. So the best thing I can say to you is this. And again, I know that there are women who might be the exception to the rule. But the women who tend to connect, that I connect with and who connect with me, and the brothers who that I can, connect with and who tend to connect with me, the common thing we have is that we're tired of games, we're tired of BS, and we just want something real. But the benefit is that we're also willing to give what we're asking for. So if that sounds like you, and you run into someone where you let them know you're interested, my brother, you tell them that you're interested, you're showing and telling consistently. It doesn't mean you called them once and then you didn't call again for 3 days. It means you putting in that time. You're sending a text or a phone call. You're making sure they know you're interested in them romantically. You're asking how their day was. You want to get to know about them. You're not immediately asking for pictures or sex. If you are doing those things and that person is telling you that she just wants to start off as friends first, it's my opinion that you ask the following question. Okay, you said you want friends first, so let me ask you this. Do you see me in a romantic way? Do you find yourself romantically interested in me? If she says no, I wouldn't even accept the friendship because you just found out her ass was lying, and who needs another lying ass friend, right? If she says, yes, I am interested in you, then my suggestion is that you ask the next question. Is there anything that I am doing specifically that is causing you to want to pause on us progressing? If she has an answer, hear her out, and at that point, address it. Just say, I will address A, B, C, D. This is what I plan to do about it. And I am still interested in you. I still want to progress. And at this point in my life, I am only looking for someone who wants to progress as well. So after a few weeks of me correcting this behavior, I'm going to ask you again. If she can't give you an answer, then my suggestion, just say, at this time, I am only looking for someone who was willing to progress. I understand that you probably have a history of things that haven't gone well for you, just like I have. I'm willing to put myself out there for you to move forward. If you are not willing to do the same, then at this point, I'm going to have to disconnect from this connection. I'm not looking for a friend. I'm looking for a woman. I want a partner. If she gets an attitude, you did the right thing. Well, what do you mean? Like, you can't dictate this. If she wanted you and she didn't have this wall up, she would be doing the same thing to you. That part I can assure you of. If she was healthy and she found you attractive, she would want to progress. So if she gets upset that you're doing what she would be doing if she wasn't in the headspace she was in, let her go twice. Okay, Trishelle is here. Let me see what she had to say. Renner says a woman knows in 2 minutes if she wants to pursue a future. 2 minutes? Hold on. Let me think. Okay. Yeah, I know in 2 minutes if I want you to pursue me. I'll say it that way. I know in 2 minutes, this is a brother that I would like to pursue me. I also know in 2 minutes, I hope this Negro never reaches out to me again. And as a matter of fact, let me fix that. All right. Trishelle says, I do it to build a foundation. Forget eventually loving you. I got to like you. That part makes sense. Build a foundation. So my question to you though, Trishelle, even in this instance, there still has to be some kind of attraction though, right? So if you're not even attracted to them, it doesn't really matter if you like them or not, correct? Let me know. Corel says, manipulated friendship. That's how I see it. I do, because there are brothers in my life where if we progress into something else, or if they asked if we could progress into something else, there's two where I would say yes. But we legitimately just started off as friends. He didn't start off liking me. I didn't start off liking him. We were just connected by mutual friends or mutual hobby or mutual interest or whatever. And as that interest progressed, friendship happened. But no, there's never been someone back in my younger years where I used to do dumb shit like this. There was never a guy that I said I wanted to just be friends with that I was attracted to. Like, never, ever. If I was attracted, even when I was young and still didn't have, still hadn't found my voice, still hadn't found all my confidence yet, even then, if I wanted the brother, I would make sure I'm not going to pursue him. I ain't going to chase him. I'm not going to make the first move, but I'm definitely going to make sure he knows he can make one on me. But if I didn't like him, but I thought he was a nice guy, I threw the friend thing down quick. Now, I don't do that anymore. But there's never been a dude that I wanted to date that I tried to push the friendship thing on first. Renner says, been there, deployment. Fuck buddies and then upset when I found somebody else. Well, now I ain't bring sex into it. Now, see, that's another whole thing. Now, if the woman is okay having sex with you and she gets mad that you're moving on with somebody else, I'll just be honest. I think, my opinion, I think that's one of those instances where maybe the woman got screwed over by a guy, decided she wanted to I can't beat him, so I'll join him. Let me play the same game. And then she found out very quickly that she's not equipped to play that game, because she got her feelings involved. Because if her feelings weren't involved, why did she care that you found somebody else, right? Corel says, great information. Sounds like I'm going to cut someone off and we'll be saving money on dinner and drink. Hey, put that money in savings. Put it in the stock market. Hell, put it in Acorn. Watch it grow. I'm sorry, Trisha. I don't know what I said for her to laugh. I went Gina from Martin. I'm just saying. Trosha, okay, so she says, yeah, so even when she wants to build a foundation, she still has to have attraction there first. So in her instance, that may just be her MO. Okay, he's attractive. I like the way they look, but let me make sure that I want to hang out with them. And that part is still okay because she's saying, I'm at least attracted. The potential may be there. Let me just find something else out. And I will put in a caveat. There are some women, I've done this once before, where I said I wanted to be friends first, but it was because they came at me sexually so freaking fast. I don't heat up sexually that fast. I don't. So if we're 2 conversations in and you're asking these roundabout sex questions that are just a turn off to me anyway, I don't like talking about sex. Just let it happen. Like, can you just, that whole, well, what would you do if I kissed you right now? That turns me off to no end. Well, I kind of like this, and tell me what you like. Say, can we have that talk while we having sex? That's a turn on. Tell me what you like. Put my hand where you want me to, that works. But the conversations about it, I just feel like it builds up too much, and then I don't want it anymore. So that's the one time that I may have decided to just play the friend card. Okay, let me just tell him I want to be friends, so he'll slow down for a little bit. But beyond that, so I'm not going any further if I don't find you attractive. Exactly. If I don't find you attractive, I'm not going further. Not wasting your time or mine. Exactly. Renner says, oh, she was a lesbian. Well, then why she mad that you found? Never mind. You brought her. Okay, Runner. Y'all do know there's no such thing as bringing someone back from homosexuality, right? Are y'all aware of that? Are y'all aware that there are some people who are bisexual and maybe they just enjoyed you sexually? Like, what is this whole I brought them back? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just a different world that I don't know nothing about that world. I just don't think that's possible to bring someone back. Like, I don't think it's possible to turn someone. I think there had to be a desire already there on both sides. Otherwise, I don't know. But that is not my forte or platform. Let me just keep going. So, Corel, I hope that answered your question, and thank you for taking the time to come back so you could hear it live. I actually think I'll stop here. I have an extra, but I'll let that be what I start off with next week. I think that makes more sense. So that's what I'll do. So I think that's it for today. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. As you see below, those of you who tend to ask about donations or sponsors, they have not changed. Please feel free to either go to Cash App. You can look me up under Allison Denise LLC. You can also still use the old account. I am Allison Denise. I'm just funneling money to the business account anyway to keep everything tax friendly. You could also go to PayPal. You can send information to me via allison@allisondenise.com. And if you want to do Zelle or Venmo, please feel free to inbox me on any of the methods that you're connected with me on social media, and I'll be happy to give you that info. Let me see what other comments we have. Really, Runner? Corel says, so what if I'm in the process of getting to know? So what if in the process of getting to know each other and the subject of sex doesn't come up, and then the question of you is asked if you are gay, if you haven't brought up the subject of sex? So there's a very easy way to bring that up. And you have to remember that, especially if this is a woman asking a man, even though we don't like to be propositioned sexually so quickly, we have also become used to it because that's literally what most men do. So when we run into a guy who doesn't do it, on top of the fact that we've all heard about brothers living on the DL and stuff like that, that can potentially be a red flag. So very easy way to handle it. Number one is to not get defensive or offended, because that also kicks up red flags with us. Well, why he offended? Why he get offended? I was just asking a question, unless I said something he didn't want me to know. So that will make her more suspicious than less. Okay? So stay calm and just say to her, I understand. I know that, I have a lot of boys and I know that they tend to come at women sexually. And just tell her, I find you very sexually attractive. I didn't want to turn you off by telling you that too soon. And move on. Don't do a speech. Don't do anything else. I find you very sexually attractive. I didn't want to bring it up too soon because I wanted to get to know you and I didn't want to turn you off. Leave it at that and follow her lead at that point. Corel says, man, it's over. I'm just telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what to do. That one sentence is plenty. That's all you got to do. Okay. All right. So that's all I got for this week, y'all. Thank you again so much. I so appreciate you tuning in. Please feel free. Share this video. Share the link for those of you who might have been watching on YouTube. Share the link. Share the video to your different timelines, to your groups, wherever you think that this information would be best suited and best received. Until next week, I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be right back here next Tuesday, okay? Much love. Peace.